Hey everybody, I wanted to talk about how damage is changing in Diablo 4 Season 4 because I think it's very interesting to see what's going on in Season 4 with damage. So, the first thing is they kind of simplified a lot of the stats. They also upped them, so you're just going to be able to get more. So, instead of being able to get like 30% damage over time, you're going to be able to get like 72%. So they just upped the damage by quite a lot, which is really cool. They also made it to where you can get things like attack speed on rings, which is also, I think, really cool because attack speed is going to be super good with all the reductions that they added, like resource cost reduction. You can see here, you can actually roll resource cost reduction now. So, like, the secondary stats are, I think, overall much better, and they should roll much more consistently. Now you can still roll max life and stuff like that, and you can also roll this, which I thought was interesting, but I don't really know if it's necessary. So it's just life per second. I don't know how good that's ultimately going to end up being because it's only going to go up to 234. But and if you were to stack it on items, but I mean, I guess it's okay. I don't know. And then you can also roll specific resists as well, which I also thought was kind of interesting. So those are some interesting changes for the rings. If we go down to the weapons, you're gonna find that the pool is way lower. Like, look at this, just so much lower. Like before, you could roll like close, distant, and all these other things. Now, they for some reason remove close and distant, and that's probably because you can temper those on. And they move some of those stats to the tempering. So now, like if you want to stack close and distant, you just temper those on instead of just like trying to find a drop that has one on. So your weapons are gonna have way more consistently better stats. I will say that right now, they in the PTR at least, they everything seemed to be rolling with main stat and max life far more than any other stat, which is kind of a problem. It wasn't very even in terms of like how the stats were rolling, so hopefully they fix that a little bit. But it should be easier to find better weapons, and the reason for that too is because with temperings, with masterworking, you're going to uh, you're going to end up gaining a lot of damage, and you're also going to have the ability to like brick things. So with tempering, if you don't know how it works, is it's like a random chance thing. So you find the manual, you take it to the blacksmith, you choose the tempering you want to add, and then there's a chance. You get like it's like a random chance, 1 in 4 typically, to get the tempering affix that you want. After you've tried to temper, I think it's like maybe 3 to 5 times, it bricks the item and you can't temper it anymore. So if you didn't get what you wanted, that item is considered bricked and you're going to have to find another one. So they made it easier to get better, consistent, like rolled items, right? That was the goal there. And I really don't think that's necessarily a bad thing by any means, but I'm also not 100% it's a good thing. I'm still kind of mixed on that, but it is something interesting and, something that should be noted. The next thing when it comes to damage is you need to keep in mind masterworking. So you can see here, there's 12 ranks of masterworking. And the way it works is every 4 ranks, what ends up happening is one stat at random will end up getting increased. So you can see here that you could choose, but you can't actually choose in the game. This is just, kind of the gambling system. But the thing with masterworking is you can reset it over and over again. So if you don't get the masterwork you want, you'll be able to just keep resetting it and just keep farming materials until you eventually get the masterwork you want. You can see here it goes up to like 12, and it's actually quite a big increase. So like right here, it goes 25% each time. So if we take this to 0 or 1, oh oops, that's not what I meant to do. If we take this down to, what the heck? Oh, I'm pressing F1. Sorry. Okay, if we take this down to 1, right? You see it, so it's 15.8% attack speed. If we take this up to 12, it goes all the way up to 21.8. This goes from 50 to 72.5. And then if you masterwork this, it'll go up to 110. And this is if you hit 3 ranks. Keep in mind it's a random affix, so you're going to be gambling a lot. You're going to be spending a lot of time at the masterworker this season, so hopefully they change that before it goes live. But that's something, again, you should be aware of. So, but right here, you can see 33% attack speed. So overall, it comes out to like a 30% increase because you see, so 21.8 all the way up to 33. Or I guess no, it comes out to more like a 50% increase overall to the stats, I guess, which isn't bad. Pretty good if you hit trips on that. But so that's something you need to think about as well when it comes to your builds and your damage. You know, is like, what thing do you want to masterwork? And another thing I want to note about masterworking is when you go to masterwork ranks, you need to be very careful because it increases it by 25%. So like here, this goes up to 3. But notice this, right? When I put 2 ranks, I hit 2 masterworks on this, it's still only 3. In order for me to get this up to +4, I would actually have to masterwork this 3 times. So it's really hard to masterwork things that roll with a low rank value. But if you go over here, right, to Poison Creeper, which can roll with a starting value of 4 to 5, look, 6, 7, and 8. You'll get one every single time. So, like, unless it has like 4 or 5 ranks on it, it's going to be much harder to get. Now, granted, it's going to be pretty worth it for me, for example, to masterwork Call of the Wild, because that's a 24% multiplicative increase in damage to like my companions. So like that's definitely worth trying to masterwork for. It's going to outdo any other offensive stat. And then when you factor in, you know, just the +2, it's going to be already. So it comes out to like literally like a 48% damage increase or something like that to my companion skills. So like it's definitely going to be worth it. So like some of these low ranks, I'm not saying don't do it, but just be aware that it's going to be rather difficult to get these up. Okay, just be aware. You know, before you go, like this should probably be one of the last things that you try to roll is like a rank ability that has low ranks when it comes to masterworking, because you're going to spend a lot of time to try to get this to 3 so you can actually get the full juice out of it. Granted, the first time you will get 3, so if you just want to masterwork it once, that could also be a viable strat, but yeah. Let me think about damage. Is there anything else coming to secondary stats? I mean, with masterworking, I think that's really all I have to say. I will show you this real fast. So just so you can kind of see a little bit more about like the changes. So you have companion damage, wolves damage, poison creeper damage, ravens damage. These are all things that I'm going to be able to add on, right? So you have poison creeper damage. So that's going to be 268%. I think it starts at about 185. Oh, 194. Okay. Yeah, so I guess it starts at 194. I think this gets increased a little bit for being on an amulet or something like that. But yeah, so you can see this, and then I can do this, and all of a sudden I have 407% extra poison creeper damage. And that's just the power of what's coming in. There's a lot more. So to show you guys a quick combo here, and if you watch previous videos, you may have seen me talk about it, but one of the things people are going to be abusing on the Druid, at least, just to show you how powerful the secondary stats are, is they're going into their Paragon. They are doing this thing, and they're looking for their nodes that work like this. So on the Barbarian, you can do this as well with the Berserk one. It says like damage while berserking, gives you a multiplicative damage bonus. So it says Storm Skills deal increased damage equal to 20% of your damage versus close and damage versus distant bonuses. The current bonus is 0%, but with the power, actually, let me go ahead and just throw this on here. I want to throw this on here just so you can see how high it's going to get, because I think it will do the math on this calculator. Hold on, let me rotate this board over. I just want to show you. Like this is going to be, and this is what all classes are most likely going to be doing. They're going to look for these nodes right here, and they're going to temper everything they can to this. So we go here. We're going to do damage to close. We're just going to temper on damage to close. Oh, so damage to close, 123%. We're going to temper that. Okay, now we're going to go to the Paragon. Let's see, did it calculate it? Oh, it didn't. Okay. But I get 20% as a multiplicative damage bonus. So just right there alone, 187, 20% of that, that's like a 40% damage increase. So if I go here and then I say, okay, let's just put damage to close on here again. Okay, damage to close. Awesome, cool. Another 187%, so it's like 400%. Now all of a sudden I have like an 80% multiplicative multiplier. This is what people are going to be doing to min-max their damage. So yeah, just keep that in mind when you're looking at your classes and you're looking at like, okay, how do I want to min-max or get as much juice out of my skills? So like I think Sorcerer has like a Conjuration one. Barb has the or the damage while berserking one. I think Necro has one as well. I can't remember all the other ones off the top of my head, but yeah. So just remember that when you're going into your temperings, and like how you're doing the temperings is to like really think about that node. You're gonna end up play if you have a node like this for your build. Most of your temperings are probably going to play around that specific node. I know if you're doing a storm build, yes, it's going to happen. I don't think Werebear has anything like that. I think they have... Yeah, so your Earth skills deal 10% increased critical strike damage, increased by 20% of your damage versus crowd controlled bonus, up to 40%. I don't even know. Can you even temper damage to crowd control? Let's see if you can. I'm just curious. Oh, you can. Okay. So yeah, so even Earth's builds are going to be doing this as well. However, it's not going to be as effective because, well, yes, it's giving you a multiplicative bonus to your critical strike damage. It's giving you a multiplicative bonus to additive damage, so it's not as good as Thunderstruck. Like, Storm is going to be absolutely cracked this season, mark my words, unless they nerf Thunderstruck in some way, shape, or form to compensate for the fact that you have so much more access to damage to close enemies, because when you combine that with Shepherds, you know, and getting like 200%, another 200% multiplier to your core and Wrath skills now, because it got changed, like it's just going to be total abuse on the Druid with those two things, so it'll be pretty fun. But yeah, I think that's all I'll have to say about damage going into Season 4. Hopefully you guys found this helpful. If you like it, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.